What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to today's video. Today's another review, and it's also a combination of a psychologically gaming video and a gaming review. So many games we have played on this channel, and so many reviews we have stated, and now, during this review, we're going to be diving into Silent Hill 2. So let's dive into this review, shall we, and see why the mind is such a powerful thing. Since this is both a psychologically gaming and a review combined, it will be more in-depth, so please stay tuned to see the entire miasma of concepts that revolve around this game, why don't you? The subconscious mind holds desires, wants, needs, and goals that carry you forward unto your next goal, objective, etc. In the case of James Sunderland, his wants, his needs, his goals, his desires are all jumbled up into I need to find Mary, I need to get out of here, and I need to get back to Silent Hill. Now, with hunting monsters and shooting your way to the next layer of fear, so to speak, we witness sexual abuse, annotations, and themes of mental illness and complex psychological themes that carry itself throughout the entire game. But if you cannot handle darker themes such as death, suicide, all that kind of thing, I would click off of this video actually, but you can go to one of my happier videos like the skit that I did on PlayStation versus Xbox. It's a kicker. Now, in Silent Hill 2, a game that was created in 2001, almost 15 years ago. 15 years ago, can you believe that? I feel old. How about you? We see the concept of psychological horror brought to the forefront of the game. For a game created over 15 years ago, it was way ahead of its time in both development, construct, the way the story was done, just everything. Let's face it, the game is old. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but the game's old. Usually, the older the game, the more you don't see a cohesive unity of thought and development. That's just the way it is. Gaming is still very young, and for it to be done so well and so cohesively constructed in such an early state of gaming, I find mind-blowing. It took me off guard in the best way possible, and I feel like other people who have played the game would most certainly agree. Now, Silent Hill 2 tackles very sensitive topics such as rape, death, many more intricate things that you would think would be a little too much for a player to handle, right? These topics create a long-term effect on the person instead of just being short bursts of different jump scares and horror here and there. After 15 years, these monsters and these topics and these concepts still stay with us as players of the game. They challenge us in ways that we didn't think we could be challenged and force us to look at life and different video games that are created now in a whole new way. James is an interesting character, you know that? He's a very diverse, very multifaceted person in a video game. He's built on a foundation of self-loathing, self-deprecating, self-satisfaction in his search to find answers for his dead wife, Mary. This game is much like a lucid dream if you think about it, because all the themes, all the characters, all the nuances, everything can be really tied back to James directly. It's all tied back to him and his underlying guilt of killing his wife, which we find out much later in the game. You know, I have to say, looking for your dead wife in a town called Silent Hill is creepy enough, but add into the little concoction over here, you know, some creepy characters, nurses, a pyramid head, characters that have behavioral problems, you know, and also this sort of Freudian-esque sexual like tension that's going on throughout the game. It really just makes your mind, you know, tickle in complex ways that make me very fascinated about it. But for some people, it, you know, it'll kind of turn them off. Listen, I have a degree in clinical psychology, okay? For me, it's just like, oh my God, please give me more of this. While other people are just like, stay there. You have your corner and I have mine. Stay in there. Give me all of the Freudian-esque sexual complexities now, won't you? Now, the reason why I say this game has a level of Freudian-esque sexual tension, I gotta be careful of what words I use because, you know, people can get triggered for no reason at all. The pyramid head represents a strong male figure who punishes those who have hurt others, basically. On top of that, early on in the game, you see him rape a mannequin, so it's kind of showing the side of James's mind that's this aggressive, very dominant male, and on the other side, you see just the pyramid head as a standalone character who is a very brutal, very masochistic thing. You have another part where the nurses are in scantily clad clothing. I don't think I need to explain myself. And also you have Angela's reoccurring daddy issues, which I found out that those characters weren't potato bags. They were just little daddies. They were angry daddies. I forget what the term was that they used for them, but they were called like the little daddies, which I when I first read about it, I was like, really? This character is called Little I have to look up the term now. Now I'm gonna really hate myself. I need to look up the term, what it was. They're called abstract daddies. I don't know. I don't know. To put it simply, this game is rooted and constructed in the preconceived notion of what happens in a sexually abusive relationship. Now, I know I'm gonna get the feminazis all in, the panties in a twist and everything like that. Just calm your tits and listen to me, okay? I realized that there was more to this game than just that concept of the Freudian-esque sexual tension that's going on, and this entire thing that is rooted in dominance and trying to find answers to yourself and to why you are a horrible person. But it's a large theme, you have to admit. I mean, the whole sexual theme of this game, it's a really big theme. This takes dealing with your demons to a whole new level. These characters create these demons in order to cope with the sad reality of what their trauma was, in order to deal with the things that they don't want to face head on. The brain is amazing in that it can create these different demons, these creations that just, they take on their own life, and we kind of store our trauma in these demons in these little like boxes almost, and we put them aside. And that's what these things are. That's what Pyramid Head is. That's what the Abstract Daddy is. That's what the nurses are. And for James, he's seeing all of these different abstract things. He's seeing all of the people's traumas that he has to deal with in accordance and in association with his own. Now, with this game, discussing trauma in such a deliciously beautiful way that makes the player go out of their skin a little bit and feel almost to the point of uneasily uncomfortable. In a mind-expanding way, of course, is the best way to do it, and I feel like it was done brilliantly. To create a safe world in which you feel like you're not going to be harmed by your demons, in which that you're playing a game to get over a trauma or to deal with something that you might be coping with in your own life, a video game, I think, is the best way to do it because it's kind of like therapy. Now, let's get into being human, shall we? Because really, there aren't that many humans in Silent Hill. Every monster reflects a character's weakness in the game, slowly deteriorating bit by bit by bit. As we progress through the game, the omnipresent gloom that hangs over everything and everyone is like a personification of depression. Oddly enough, Silent Hill is based off of an actual place in Centralia, Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half away from where I actually went to university. Now, this is actually a quote that I got from a website called 13th Floor, and you guys can check it out down in the description below. The first coal mining operation began in 1856. In May of 1962, the mine beneath the town caught fire. The fire was believed to have started when the town decided to burn trash in the landfill. Not very environmentally friendly, if you ask me. The trash fire traveled through the opening of the mine, where it ignited the large coal deposits below, feeding off the coal and the oxygen traveling through the mine shaft openings on the surface. The fire raged out of control. It's still burning until today. Very dangerous to go there. I'm actually very tempted to actually go there to do a documentary series on Silent Hill, which you have to wear like all protective gear. The carbon monoxide there is just really, honestly, you can only stay in the town of Centralia for no more than 10 minutes at a time. The town is simply a maze when you put it into its simplest form, and to bring it back to the construct of a lucid dream, we have, much like the human brain, James going through these different facets of how he sees things and how other people see things. You could actually make a metaphor for that, that Silent Hill's comparison to how James's brain is working currently. I don't know if that's just me. But much like the human brain, we witness different aspects of James through each character that we see and vice versa. Even the monsters, they show us a mirror into James's mind and his subconscious. We see each character sink further and further into their own Silent Hill, basically. Their humanity becomes challenged and becomes more fragile. Angela, a young woman who is trying to find her mother, explains to James that there is something wrong with the town of Silent Hill. James is trying to find his dead wife with little hope and finding a woman who resembles her to a T. It's actually a completely separate ending that you can actually get for the game called Born from a Wish, and it's called that because it's born from James's wish to find Mary. He finds Mary through this woman named Maria, who is like I said, the personification of Mary. You have Eddie, who is kind of like this frat boy-esque kind of dude who is snapping mentally because of the verbal abuse that he witnessed and was a part of during his childhood. And lastly, you have a character named Laura, who is by far one of the most interesting characters throughout the game besides James. She was in the same hospital as Mary, James's wife, and she's the one who gave him letters and different clues and was actually a little snob during the game, if you ask me. Laura, I feel, is James's representation of his last hope, that he's trying to find Mary, and the fact that he killed his wife, it gives him a tremendous amount of guilt. You know, not only the fact that he didn't bring her back to Silent Hill, the place that she found her most peace, but, you know, the fact that he doesn't believe in what he did. He has this kind of delusional denial, if you will. He still has to believe, and believe in what, you might ask? I feel as if he's still clinging on to a false narrative that Mary is still alive and that his delusion will become a reality and will become satiated in some way or another. At the end of the game, James encounters a manifestation, I believe, of both Mary and Maria combined together. This is just my theory, but I believe that in this last portion of the game, he has to fight what he created in order to get out alive. She becomes the very thing he needs to kill in order to live, and since he couldn't help Angela with her sexual abuse and the fact that she had suicidal tendencies, even though he minimally tried to, and this is the thing, like in the game, you can see the brilliant writing come forth. He tried to save her by keeping the knife that she gives him in towards the beginning of the game, I believe, if I remember correctly. Angela giving the knife to James, she is literally passing on a symbolic reference of her depression to him. She's trying to get rid of the one thing that she excruciatingly hated about herself and thinking that, oh, I might be free finally. Now, let's get into some of the gameplay, because as you guys know and are probably like, Ariel, you complained about the camera angles. Why aren't you talking about the gameplay? I'm getting into that, ho. The gameplay itself is cumbersome at first, to say the least. Since the game is from 2001, I didn't really expect much going in. I was more or less just playing it for the story and because I've really always wanted to play Silent Hill. It lacks fluidity for the most part. The camera angles, they just lack in everything. I mean, you know, those are just crappy camera angles. They lack in everything upon construction. They don't move well with the character, and they get stuck, if you know what I mean. When you're trying to move in a certain direction, it's like they just get stuck. They hang on something. I don't know what they're hanging on. They're not hanging on my words because I'm telling them to move, but they just get stuck. Gun controls are automated, so you don't have like to choose any which way to kill a character, which, I mean, it makes it easier, but in a way it's like I want to have kind of like that aspect of I can choose where to shoot the character. If I want to kneecap him, I can kneecap him. All enemies are easy to kill and easily avoidable for the most part, but you do have to fight the Pyramid Head to the very end. You can never avoid the Pyramid Head, which actually kind of symbolic, right? In conclusion, Silent Hill 2 is a place where sorrows are personified in some of the worst ways imaginable. Your wants and the needs of a tumultuous mind come to the forefront, and your subconscious mind really just starts to rear its ugly head. With psychological intricacies, cheesy camera angles, and a dialogue that makes you turn around, and characters that are very diverse, but they meld into one another at the same time. Each character being drastically different, yet the same. They're all looking for something. Peace, solace, a way out, or maybe just an answer. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That was my review of Silent Hill 2. If you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. Let me know if you guys have played Silent Hill 2. I would love to know your thoughts on it. But stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Peace.